Hey guys, welcome to Serial Killer, the podcast where we pair true crime and cereal naturally together. You guys, we have our first guest ever!
You've never had a guest before?
No. Not on Serial Killer, we're brand new. We're spanking new. You're our first guest.
Hey!
Would you like to tell them who you are and
My
a
name
little bit
is
about you?
Katherine, and I like serial killer podcasts.
Yeah.
True crime.
True crime? That's why we're kind of settling on, because
Yeah, it's more than just serial killers.
Well, I mean, most of them have killed more than one person.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
And the one today, one of the reasons you're here is because you totally turned me on to this epic roller coaster of a ride that we're about to go discuss, which they discussed in 18 episodes.
Yeah,
and we will discuss in
so long.
one.
Did you guys listen to it continuously, or did you break it up? You didn't.
Oh
no, I broke it up, so it was a few. I think at most I listened to 3 episodes in one day.
I didn't sleep for no. I'm just kidding. No.
I listened to it in 4 days.
Oh
what?
Man, and just
I was
crush.
I was writing, and I always have a podcast on in the daytime, so
Right.
I just listened to it straight through, and I was so disturbed. It was probably 4 days.
Man.
It affected me.
This one's very disturbing, as is our next episode.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's not weird.
Does it get
it's
more
all,
disturbing
it's
as
all,
the season goes?
It seems like we are getting worse and worse cases
as it goes further
but
in.
I think that's
Oh,
just
man.
the nature of the game. We kind of had not difficulty, but we had a long discussion about what cereal we
would go with this one.
We're
I couldn't wait to hear.
We were like,
because
what's
we've
a Mormon
discussed
cereal?
it. That's right, and we googled Mormon cereal.
We did.
I did.
I was like, I'm not sure what this exactly puts me on what list for.
No,
but I'm
yeah,
sure
I'm on it. Oh
list.
yeah.
But probably for
Oh
a
yeah,
while,
I googled it too. We're
Yeah,
there together.
we're all there
everyone's
together.
there. There
Great,
was some
good.
Mormon cereal, there wasn't there? There's a weird one.
I feel like there was something
I have
that
close friends that are Mormons, and I think that they're wonderful people.
Right. This is not about being Mormon.
It's whoever invented a Mormon-specific cereal that I'm worried about.
I don't know. I think I'm more worried about the other people in this situation.
True.
There's a lot of people to be worried about.
But so we were trying to figure out what kind of cereal, and then we're thinking about aspects of the crime, and then the only thing I could settle on was the fact that the little boys involved, not in the crime.
So horrible.
I guess they are involved in the crime.
They are.
The victims
The little
oh
boys.
God, I don't know. The
We'll
little
get
boys.
into that.
We'll get into it. Had said something about fossils and about seeing somewhere where dinosaurs were.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a cereal by Quaker Oats that is an instant cereal with dinosaur eggs in it. And when you put the hot water on it,
and we told
the eggs open up for dinosaurs.
We told one of our co-hosts on another podcast we do about this, and he did not believe that it existed.
No, I literally had to look it up, and he was like, "No, but nah." And I was
You
like,
were pretty sure that it did exist, though.
"Yes, I ate this as a kid."
Yeah.
I don't think I ever did.
Oh, I definitely ate this as a
I
child.
did?
Yeah.
I don't.
did. I mean, it's vaguely familiar, but I don't know if I saw the commercials and my family never allowed me to get it, or if I actually ever tried it.
I was so excited when I found it, and I was like, "Oh, I'll give it to my niece and nephew, and they'll love it." And they're like, "What is that?"
Why are you giving me
so
Did they try it?
They did, and they were
Do I need
like,
to open it? Oh, there's
yeah,
3 bowls.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And there's hot water. This one's way more complicated than any of our cereals have ever been.
Well, yeah, because you tear one, they're individually portioned, so we all have a fun bag that we now get to have trash.
Okay, question. Inside the eggs, is it like toys and you're not supposed to eat
No.
No, you're supposed to eat
It's
them.
edible.
Okay, because that would be
So I'm trying to
terrible.
show you on camera that you can see the little eggs in there. And
But they just kind of look like,
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna let everyone pour their own water
because I'm not a soupy
I just really
jalapeno
don't.
person.
Okay, tell me when.
Okay. That's good.
Was that too much?
No, it's good. It's all good. And then I'm gonna go to the camera and see like
try to watch it
dissolve. But I feel like this is like watching golf or
watching paint dry.
Maybe you could do like a speed up version of it, like
time lapse it. Yeah.
I'm gonna use a little bit more. I feel like.
Oh my god. It smells really good.
It does smell. I mean,
It's kind
I'm
of like
excited
Should
about
we
it.
eat it dry like we usually do?
No.
What?
Just eat some raw oats.
You know what? I feel like you have not committed to this podcast for fully. You will not eat dry.
Ooh,
ever.
okay, I'm starting to get dinosaur.
Are you?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
look
like.
towards the camera.
Wait, this is incredible.
Oh my god, are they hatching? Am I scared? I don't know what I feel.
What is? Mine are not.
Mine
hatching.
aren't
Or maybe
hatching.
they're not hot enough.
Are they not hot enough? Maybe I got duds.
Or we just left the water off the
But you said
boiler
you
for
started
too
seeing
long.
dinosaurs.
It's
Are
pretty
you lying?
hot.
Mine are definitely like doing something.
They hot?
Hers are doing something.
They're like not just all one color.
Oh yeah, they are becoming more colorful. I'm gonna taste it now, you guys. I don't know if I want to put that big ball in my mouth.
Do it.
Um,
Man, I want to see it hatch.
so oatmeal is good. It just tastes like maple.
The oatmeal is good. I ate an egg.
Yeah, and
You know,
oh, okay. Let me try one.
It's what
it's
it is.
crunchy. I mean, it's
Oh.
hard. Of course, it's crunchy, but like
Is that what a dinosaur tastes like?
Yes.
of course,
I haven't eaten
they're so
dinosaur.
magical.
Oh, I don't like it actually. I don't like the dinosaur part.
No, not a fan.
Mm-mm.
What
No.
is it? Is it just like sugar? Like
I don't know.
crunchy?
There's like a taste to it that I don't quite.
It's
dig.
like
Right.
it's like a not tart sweet tart.
Yeah, that's a good description.
There's no
Yeah.
tart.
Oh my god, but I do like the oatmeal though.
I love oatmeal.
You know what? I haven't had oatmeal in a really long time. This is really good.
I love oatmeal.
This is really good. I'm like, can we still eat it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Half the time I eat the whole bowl, and Maria's like, "I took a bite."
Most of the cereals are not great with milk.
Oh, I got a dinosaur coming.
You do?
Right?
Well, ish.
I think you need to have like boiling water to
Yeah.
get these dinosaurs out.
You know what?
The good news is that
Nobody coached me
no,
on the
no,
dinosaurs.
no, not eating. No,
The dinosaurs gross.
the eggs are not. That's not happening.
No, I'm not.
That was
into dinosaurs.
unnecessary, Quaker.
I mean, I guess they were trying to do something cool for us, and we just can't appreciate it. Truly.
God, I can't
But
stop.
also,
I can't stop eating
we
them.
no longer have palates of 12-year-olds.
Okay.
What?
Mm.
Lies.
That's really crazy.
The lies you tell. Okay, so for the cereal, I will say my knife is confused because my knife really likes the instant oatmeal brown sugar portion.
I mean,
so
yeah.
knife up for that, and for the dinosaurs, knife down because they didn't hatch and they taste gross.
Yep.
And that's how I feel about that one.
I'd say the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just classic maple brown sugar oatmeal
Which is great.
with just not, nope.
Yeah.
Nope on the eggs.
It's a nope on the eggs for me.
They're not terrible.
So where's your knife?
My knife is up.
For the dinosaurs?
Knife up all around.
Oh,
I would eat this again.
Oh, thank you. She's knife up for it. All right. Well, we don't
I'll
often
keep eating it.
we don't often actually have something that she likes
I
that I
know.
don't like because usually you don't like anything and I like everything.
I really like this oatmeal part.
Oh, so good. So that's what our show's about today is how good oatmeal is.
That's it. That's all it is.
So the podcast that we're going to talk about and the crime that we're going to talk about is the missing or disappearance of Susan Powell. And the podcast that we'll be referencing is called Cold, and it's amazing. It's a lot. It's a lot.
If you are on a road trip and you want a good series type true crime, this is your winner.
Yeah.
Where it has like somewhat of a complete. It doesn't really have a.
You're welcome for bringing this into your life.
I mean, it does have a completion, but it doesn't have a
When I
completion.
told her about it, I was
Yeah.
like, and it's 18 hour-long episodes.
But they're so good. But so Susan Powell disappeared, and then all of this stuff after it, I feel like is the thing. Like
It's the real.
It's
But can we talk about
There's-
the leading
yeah.
up to it?
Because there's a lot of stuff that happened.
let's
There's just
yeah,
a lot.
let's
There's
unhash
so
it.
much.
Let's unhash it.
I just want to start with the fact that So Josh Powell is the husband of Susan Powell.
Yeah.
And he is an interesting fella. Let's start with the fact that they read journal entries from middle school, college. Like,
All
he's
through
been
their
keeping
lives.
a journal the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of it.
So is she.
When
She does too. And
all journal. Yeah.
his
Mhm.
dad
His
does
dad.
too.
Oh God, his
The
dad.
fact that we-
Can we even
I don't-
start?
I mean,
Where
the
should we
fact
start?
that
Where do you get to
It's so-
Steven?
Should we start?
Oh, and not only just the journal, video. I mean, sorry, audio.
Audio recordings.
journals.
Which is an
Yeah.
interesting part of
Well,
the podcast Cold,
which is
because
good
you
for us.
hear them
Josh,
actually
yeah.
saying it in their own words, which is sometimes horrible.
Yeah, no, the dad is creepy.
It's all super
So
creepy.
Josh
I almost
is
swore. Can you swear on
Yes.
this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Josh is born into a Mormon family. His dad Steve is very strange and decides that he has some issues with the church.
Yeah.
Mainly because he's what I would like to say a pervert.
Correct.
I'd say that's
Right.
exactly on.
He was convicted, so yes.
Yeah, for looking at through a window at
Of
young
two
girls.
young girls, yeah.
and recording them and
recording
doing all
them
kinds of
getting
weird
dressed.
stuff.
All sorts of creepy stuff.
But when Josh is a kid or teenager,
middle
his
school teen.
parents
Divorce.
separate and divorce because his dad is leaving the Mormon church, and also because the mom can't take the fact that the husband is infatuated with his daughter.
Oh yeah, Steven the dad. Now we're on a
Yeah.
first name basis. me and
Yes,
Steven.
Steven.
We all have to be on a first name basis for this guy because he is a character you cannot write.
No. He is
But it's
so
real life.
creepy.
It gets so much worse because, like, when you think you're like, oh, he's disgusting, he's the worst, and then they find something else, and you're
gets
just like,
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just goes
It's
further
so
and
bad.
further.
So basically, Steven he's the perverted dad, but it's noted in the first episode that it would drive him crazy when his daughter would come in the kitchen in a t-shirt and underwear.
you know, like,
And
you
that's
do
in
when
his
you're at
that's
home.
in his audio journal.
Mhm.
So you get to hear him say that.
Yeah, doesn't he kind of like shame her about it? Like, how
Oh,
can
yeah.
you just like come around like and
Yeah,
not
he
expect
says
me
it
to have a
drives me
reaction?
wild.
Yeah.
Creepy.
So this is Josh's dad, and
The sister is Alina,
Alina,
and then there's Michael.
which Alina later on is not against really anybody in her family. I would be so against so much. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
well, there's another sister, Jennifer.
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jennifer.
who is like,
Oh yes,
she
very much.
alienates herself. She
Mhm.
very much is like, no, these are not
Yeah,
my
they're
family,
all
and like
gross.
moves and doesn't
And good
talk
for
to any
her.
of
Like
them.
the mom,
yeah.
right? The mom.
Yeah,
the mom is
exactly.
normal. The mom.
Yeah, the both of them were like, we are
Moves to
separating from
Washington.
all of this. No, thank you.
So yeah, we're definitely not talking bad about Mormons because the Mormons are amazing people. They're all amazing.
Yeah, all the people
Oh,
who
yeah.
actually like go to
No.
the Mormon church and like practice.
What we're
Mormonism
saying is
are,
that
like,
they use
fine.
these creepy people use Mormonism
Yes.
as like an excuse
yeah.
to the extreme, which you could say for Christianity or for any.
Or for any
religion.
But oh man. Okay, so let's get into it.
So Josh marries Susan
Mhm.
Powell, who is also a nice Mormon girl, but he, like his father, is disconnected or having issues
Deranged.
with
Yeah.
not deranged, but also having issues with the church.
Oh.
And she's a good church going girl. She believes in their marriage no matter how messed up he gets.
Mhm.
I feel like,
yeah.
right? Also, how messed up his family gets towards her.
Also, he's so messed up that like he never has a job and like demands her to give him the check
Mhm.
every time, and like was spending money and putting them in debt.
Oh, yeah,
and she was
yeah.
working.
Yeah, and he was buying like drones and like acetylene torches
Computer
and like
games.
yeah.
Yeah.
While she was like, "Hey, maybe we could like get a new fridge," and he'd be like, "No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
have the money for that."
Anything for like that she kind of wanted, it seemed like was a no, even though she was the breadwinner.
Yeah.
It was very like
The only one for you.
it was
Yeah.
financial abuse and manipulation.
For sure.
100%. I don't know that there was that much definitely emotional abuse and definitely financial
Yeah, I don't
abuse.
think there's any evidence of physical abuse, but it was for sure like emotionally manipulative.
And we definitely see some kind of sexual harassment done by Steven, our favorite.
Oh, Steven the dad.
And he's not our favorite. He's disgusting.
Wait, are we giving stuff away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoiler
He's
alert for all of us.
Spoiler alert, Steven is in love with Susan. And thinks that she's in love with him.
Not even just like in love. Like this is stuff.
Like infatuation. Like it's
Obsession.
Yeah.
He makes
yeah.
songs about her.
Yes.
He sings songs about her. And
Which are
we
so
get to hear
for
which we get to hear.
bad.
Writes
Really
them. Not just
creepy.
sings them, he writes them and sings them.
Didn't he make one up about Seattle too? Like
Yeah.
the lions in Seattle,
Oh,
blah, blah. And he thought it was gonna be as big as
So
like
bad.
New York, and like all this stuff. And it's just like he's not a good singer, and he's a perv. And that's not even the worst part. Like he writes these like horrible songs about her. He does all these journal entries about her. He takes pictures of her. He steals her underwear. He steals her tampons.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh, I
And-
forgot.
like writes dates on them. So
And
he
Yes.
puts them in Ziploc bags
And then
keeps them.
stores them. He also
He took it out of the garbage.
steals her Mormon underclothes.
Uh-huh.
Because that's like a thing that Mormons have, so that it reminds them that like God is always watching.
Yeah.
And he steals those, which like go missing for like 10 years until he goes to jail, and then they finally can like empty
Spoiler,
his
he
house.
goes to jail.
He goes to jail. Not for anything related to Susan though.
No, he goes to jail. Well, it's kind of because of Susan's
Yeah.
disappearance that we
They end up finding
find
stuff
stuff,
and get
and that's when they find the fact that he was taking pictures of his.
Yeah, well, first they
Neighbors.
find it's like Jeffrey Epstein, and they just walk into his house, and it's like child porn is fucking everywhere.
Yep.
Why are people?
Don't know, but
It's
like, so
nasty.
that's Josh's dad.
This is mine.
So then Josh and Susan have a marriage that happens.
They have 2 sons.
They have 2 sons. Yeah, and Josh.
Wait,
Josh
what are their
has
sons' names? How come I'm blanking?
Braden.
Braden and
No.
Charlie? I feel like.
I think so. I
Charlie.
think it's
I
Charlie.
think
and
Charlie,
Braden,
yeah.
yeah.
Braden.
Because there's a whole episode
That's like named
that's
after
named
them, yeah.
after. Well, I think
Oh, no.
specifically Charlie, because
Because there's a law
yeah,
that
yeah.
they try to pass afterwards, which like is such a stupid redundant law.
Charlie. Yeah, Charlie. It's a redundant law, but anyway, so Susan goes missing. He's like, I don't know where she is. She's supposed to be at work. Josh is like, I don't know where she is. We went camping.
But before that, wasn't the lady over helping her knit or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
She had a friend come over to help her.
And he
like,
was
roll
making
yarn.
dinner, which is not something he's ever done.
No, he's
Right.
very much it was very much like a traditional like you're supposed to take care of all the kids and all the housework, and
Mhm.
also bring in all the money, and I'm supposed to be the man.
Give me my drone.
Yeah.
That was my
But
parents'
he
marriage. Oh,
creepily.
Just kidding. My dad had a job too.
Do we hit a trigger?
Oh no, not yet.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
We'll do a trigger.
Don't you worry. I'll upload it later.
And so he decided this evening that he was gonna make dinner pancakes.
Pancakes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like blueberry. There was some kind of like specialty. It was like very
Cyanide.
much. It was
Allegedly.
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 No, it was, there was cream cheese frosting that he made.
There you go.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
what
like
it
very
was.
specific that she loved.
Yeah.
And she's like, the fuck?
Yeah, and he brought her plate of pancakes. Like she wasn't involved in any of the
She had a
making or
friend
anything.
over.
And also a little backstory on where she's at this time. She's kind of ready to go. She's
Yeah,
trying.
she's
She's
got
trying
one
to
foot out the
She has
door.
a separate bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's keeping a journal.
She's flirting with
Like
the guy
they
at
do.
work.
Yep.
Yep.
And she's
Trying to find a way for the boys to be like
out
good.
with her.
yeah,
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah. Well, because her and Josh has had like his own history with sexual troubles and
Yeah.
making him feel inadequate. So it's not a good situation for either of them at this
Mm-mm.
point.
And I think she even has like an end date when she's just like,
Yeah.
like she's. So this is happening in the back of her mind, and I think he's getting wind of some of the stuff that's happening, and that's when he makes her pancakes.
Mm-hmm. But we don't know if he like saw the bank account or
Yeah.
like, there's no.
Yeah, we have no idea.
We have no idea. So
there's a lot we don't know.
So that evening after pancakes, they go on a camping trip and it's snowing.
The neighbor says
in the middle
that
of the night.
she left at like 5 p.m. and when she was leaving, Josh took the boys, but not Susan, out in the minivan.
Right.
And so then there's like an unaccounted for amount of time, and he's like, "Oh well, like we just decided to go camping, but it was
in the middle of nowhere,
worst snowstorm in like a year."
And where their cell phones were pinged, it was like not a campground.
Right.
Yeah, it was like the middle of the desert.
So it's not looking.
So put it together.
Yeah, stuff is happening. So then she's missing, and he's super helpful.
Yeah, he gives like the most uncomfortable police interview that I've ever listened to.
And they don't ever arrest him, so he like leaves for days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But even when he was being like questioned about this, he was late to the questioning.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 hours late, and I think what he said he was doing when he got there was that the kids were hungry and he went and got Little Caesars. Because I'm sorry, does nobody know about Hot and Ready? They are hot
And they are ready.
They're hot and ready.
What are you waiting 2 hours
$5,
for pizza?
right?
$5.
I haven't had one of those in years.
It's
Guess what
not
I'm doing for
delivery.
dinner tonight?
Crazy Bread, $1. I am not doing a commercial.
Not sponsored by.
Not sponsored by,
Little
but would love to.
Caesars. Come on over.
Come on down. Yeah, so he's not very cooperative. He shows up late. Then they're like, "Okay, bye."
And also, like, things just are, like, there's a wet spot on the couch. There's cleaning agents. There's...
Well, and she,
And
like...
he rented like a rug doctor.
But nobody can prove anything.
And, like, her phone was in the car with him, but her purse and her coat weren't. And, like, there's all these inconsistencies with, like, if they went camping, why did none of her stuff go with them? And, like,
But they
if she was
basically
supposed to
have
go
to-
to work, why didn't she take her phone with her? Why was it in his car?
Right.
But yeah, like, none of this is evidence. It's all just, like,
They can't
speculation.
They can't do anything until they find a body.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Steven is heartbroken the whole
Oh,
time.
Steven.
Just
But
crying.
here's the thing. I
Yeah.
can't decide if Steven's... I mean, he's a psychopath. But, like, I can't decide if he knows what's happening but is sad because she's gone. Or if he's just... Or he's sad because he thinks that she's, like, disappeared.
I genuinely think that I just want to make sure there's not a wire. I'm sorry, there's a wire there. Okay, you're good.
The dogs.
There's a dog here.
There's my dog.
There's
Her
two
dog.
dogs. There's 2 dogs here. You've heard me
No,
talk.
we're not playing.
You've heard me talk to Fiona before, and now we have Lars here. So I don't think he told his dad, because I don't think he 100% trusted his dad. He loved and respected his dad and wanted his dad to be around, but I don't think he had that respect. And I think the only person that I think he told would be Michael,
His brother.
His brother.
Yeah.
and maybe Elena, because she seems to be very understanding about.
Yeah, Alina.
all
I mean,
of-
she,
yeah,
yeah, isn't that what you said?
I think I said it weird, but yeah,
Elena.
Alina.
Yeah.
I think she doesn't doubt that it happened, but I don't know if it was ever admitted to her.
Valid. Like, I don't know that we can confirm that.
Lars, no.
Fiona,
Sorry,
Leave
he wants
it.
to play.
I know.
Do you
She's
want me
fine.
to, should we lock him out?
She's fine.
Okay.
She's fine. I don't know that she knows, but I think she suspects. But I wouldn't put it past him to tell her, because I don't think she would do anything. Like, I think she would just support her family.
Oh yeah, she's I would be terrified of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
If I knew
100%.
something, I'd be like, put me in witness
in some
protection, and I'll tell you
exactly.
everything.
But I
because
think
they're between
yeah.
Michael and
Steve.
well,
Josh.
Josh and Michael alone. Steve, I mean, he just would probably tell her to take her shirt off or something.
Yeah, and then like write a song about
And
it.
then sing about it. His
But
daughters.
he doesn't seem that diabolical, and I think
No.
like Michael definitely was involved, and I don't think he was involved I think it was more like, oh my god, my family member fucked up. Let me figure out how to
I
like,
think-
cover this shit up.
Because Michael was in, a PhD program
Yeah.
at, like,
Spokane?
Indiana?
Oh.
Something like that.
We are opposite.
I think it was Paris, you guys.
It was.
You were right. No, but he was doing
Cairo.
He was doing some PhD program because I remember in the podcast they talk about how like, okay, well if he drove like all night from here to here and then stopped and then like,
And he has the boys with him.
and yeah,
And they're like 4
yes.
and...
Two. Yeah, one of them is literally 2 years old.
And definitely one of them saw something.
Oh yeah.
Because they're having,
Yeah.
it's like when we were talking about the Ketty murders, they have these weird, like,
Not like
fantasies,
memories,
but like weird memories that
They have
are
these like
Yeah.
like playtime things that they do that like their teachers and like family members will comment on where it's like they have to like try to bury other students and they're like, but that's like to keep them safe and like where's where the angels go and they like say all this weird shit like that and then they also start spewing some like hatred towards Mormons because Josh hates the
very
Mormon
much
church.
saying Mormons are horrible and all this other stuff and it's you're stuck, honey.
Lars, you're
You're
stuck.
stuck. There you go.
We're gonna stay out of here.
No. There you go.
Just throw it. Cut this out, right?
Yeah, but I think it adds a little je ne sais quoi.
Okay.
It adds a little whatever.
Lars got stuck in the cord.
Sometimes dogs get stuck in cords, and
It's
we fix
fine.
it.
We save them.
Yeah, they talk really bad about Mormons.
Yeah.
Which is like their dad and their grandfather both hate the Mormon Church so much, and it's not the problem. The problem is they're perverts and horrible people.
I can't. I don't know if we didn't hear a lot about this because it just would have been a whole nother story, but we didn't hear so much about Susan's parents. Like, we, you know, of course they're trying to get their grandsons and they're trying to do. I just feel like if my parents couldn't see their grandchildren, they'd be fighting.
But they did.
Well,
fight.
and that's
They did, but not for a like.
That's the thing. That's the weird thing is like at first they were all behind Josh and they were like, no, Josh could never have done it. We trust Josh. We totally trust.
But her
Josh.
sister,
yeah,
who by the way he dated before he.
That's right.
That's how he met Susan.
I think it's hard for family members to like really believe that they could just be like eating at a table with somebody that is gonna do this stuff, or that their son or their grandson's father is this person. Like I think it's hard to sink in. It takes a while, even when you know like that there's bad things about your family members or whatever. It's hard. I think it's hard.
Yeah, and I also feel like I want a podcast from their side because there had to have been so much going on.
Yeah.
There's no way that they.
And they were in legal battles because then that's what happens is like, so like, Susan goes missing, and
his sister, Josh's sister, tries to actually believes that Josh has done something to Susan and tries to tape him confessing.
That's right.
Right.
But he
I forgot about that.
doesn't.
Totally forgot
And
about
then
that.
and then it turns into a whole thing where her family basically is like, how could you do this? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yells at her.
Yeah, she's the bad person. She's trying to get it.
Person.
So I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! It just turns into this whole legal battle for the kids eventually, and then these kids they get put with the grandparents because their dad is suspected of murder,
And they have visitation.
Yeah, they have scheduled visitation, which is supposed to be in like a neutral place, so not the grandparents' house and not the dad's house.
Right. At first, they have they have that kind of like structuralized. Then it becomes a little bit more lax, which is what happens.
Yeah.
With this,
so things are building up. Like it's
The-
more
yeah,
and
the
more
whole
obvious.
time.
Like they find a bottle of pills that were no longer there that could have been crushed and put in the cream cheese. This is my theory on it. Like they poisoned her, put her in the van, then took the boys on a camping trip.
And used some kind of power tool on her. That is.
That's the going theory.
That's the going theory.
Because there were no other weapons in the house other than like power tools and like acetylene torch that he bought that put them into like $3,000 of debt.
Because what else would you spend your money on?
Europe.
No, you just need more acetylene torches.
I have different priorities, you guys. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so things start escalating. They start, getting a little, like, the police start getting more aggressive with Josh, I feel like, and and then
they're catching on to
they're
things,
catching on,
but cannot discover a bone.
They've searched like
there's been a search party in mines.
They've searched deserts. They searched mines because there are tons of mine shafts that just like are abandoned, and they're like, well, maybe he just threw her down a mine shaft.
Probably torched her.
Probably,
He probably tortured. So it's called cold.
Yeah.
Because it's a cold case. Nobody's ever found her. No. Okay, keep going.
But this is all happening like right after that guy got stuck in one of the caverns in Utah. Do you know about this? I forget the name of the cave.
They touched on it.
They like briefly mention it, but it's this guy in this like this super dangerous like crevice, and so they like just hold up the whole cave after he died in there because they were like,
He's
still in there. Yeah.
I'm assuming he's dead.
Oh yes. Okay. He got stuck.
They like send food down.
He got stuck upside down, and it was impossible for them to rescue him.
Me too. Now I feel bad. I hope this thing is not listening.
Sorry.
I hope they are, because then you would have more listeners.
Yay!
Okay.
Listen in. Just kidding. Don't. I can do, but I don't know what's
Please
happening.
listen,
I
please
feel
listen.
very conflicted right now.
Thoughts and prayers are with you.
Lots of prayers. So they started looking in Utah and Oregon, right? And
Idaho.
And then now now they're investigating Michael. And,
they're investigating the brother.
And this is when all the stuff is coming out about Steven, about how
all the journals and
they get
photos
they
and
finally
everything.
get a search warrant. It took like 11 episodes. I don't know if it's that episode 11.
Which is like 8 billion years.
No, the first like 4 episodes. The first 4 episodes of this podcast are just like, this is Josh's whole life until he was 16, and it's like Jesus fucking Christ.
And then, but it is interesting.
It is very interesting, but it's like, what?
You need to listen to episode like 1 and 3.
It like
you could
when you go in, because like I went in not knowing like any of the later details of any of this, and so I was like, who are we talking about? Who's Josh? Who's Steven? Why do I care about any of these people?
Now you know.
Oh my god.
Didn't Steven have a different name that he would sing under?
I think so.
I forget what it
he
was.
had like a fake name.
If
he never got like officially published.
If
like
he
never
is
got a record
published,
contract.
If he is published and we find him on
Who
Spotify,
we gotta buy?
We will put him on our Spotify serial killer playlist.
So bad.
But
so things are coming out.
Things are coming out.
The family is in
the
turmoil.
other family is
the
fighting
grandparents
for custody of the kids. He's getting visitation, but the visitation, for some reason, is getting a little bit more lax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does not make sense. I'm sorry. This is where I'm, like, really pissed off.
Well, and nobody,
really pissed off.
Like, not a single person can explain why they
She
went
did
to
that
his
poor
home.
woman, though.
That poor social worker who had to be there.
The social worker takes the kids to visit their dad at their dad's house, and she's supposed to go in with them, and they get there, and
the kids
run in, and he shuts the door and locks her out.
Yeah.
And
she does everything right.
Everything
right. The 911.
The 911 operator.
Dispatchers.
Listen to that call.
Oh God.
I'm sorry if somebody says
so
that they're a social worker, that they have lost sight of the kids that they are supposed to be responsible, and they're with the parents immediately. They did not.
They did not.
And then
they're like,
kept on.
Do you hear them? Are they just playing?
No, they're crying in the house. She said.
And they kept on.
And then she heard bludgeon.
Giving them. The dispatchers kept giving her shit for not knowing the address, not having like the exact address.
Yeah.
And she called.
But then they also said, we will get there when things are not urgent. Like, urgent stuff has to be handled first.
Infuriating.
Yeah.
And she's not the only one calling at this point. We also have a sister calling the police saying, I got some weird emails
from my brother.
Oh, that's right.
And so you have multiple people calling, and it's not until they start seeing flames
that like a neighbor calls the fire department and is like, oh, I would like to report fire.
No, there was an explosion.
Yes.
She heard an explosion.
She heard an explosion. There's a fire. There's still no rush because nobody's in the house, right? No. The social worker calls back and says there are people in the house, and they're like, well, we can't.
They're like, well, the fire truck's on the way. Like, it'll get there when it gets there. And she's like, I can hear it, but I can't see it. Like, it's not here yet.
And you hear dispatch actually talking to, like, I guess, the fire department saying, we can't confirm there are people inside. We can actually.
It's so bad.
It made me. I was on a walk when I listened to that, thankfully, because it was like you just want to grab the phone and be like, listen.
You don't understand.
They're in a visitation for a reason. This guy is crazy. I heard them crying. Now there's an explosion. They're in the house. You better fucking get here.
Yeah, but you know.
Yeah. Well, and one of the dispatchers who like handled those calls after everything happened, like completely reevaluated his life and now teaches seminars on sympathy.
Oh, is this real?
Yeah, this is like a real thing.
Gosh.
There's like a real syndrome that like 911 dispatchers get, and it's I forget what it's called, but it's like
basically like they're become cold.
Yeah,
to the actual stuff.
Yeah, they like
because
lose all empathy because they hear so much of it, and if they get too involved, they like can't do their job. But they also have to be aware that like things are sensitive, and you need to like take matters like this seriously.
So aggressive sometimes like I've listened to quite a few, which are always so disturbing. You know, 911 calls, and they're always just so.
Give me these facts.
Yeah.
What are the facts?
They have to remain calm, but
I know, and they're always like, "Don't cry, stop crying.
Yes.
You're here, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Don't cry, don't cry. You're getting upset. Doesn't do that." I'm like,
Was
"Oh
it
my god."
This one, or was I listening to a different murder podcast?
It might be.
Where the woman, I think was it Alina, who was like crying so hard she like couldn't speak. Yeah, and the 911 dispatcher kept being like, "You're not helpful when you're crying," and it's like, well, bitch, that's not gonna make me cry less. Like, I can't stop.
Think that this custody thing, this really triggered me because I had watched this documentary called Dear Zachary, and if you haven't watched it, I will say, oh god, I really don't want to spoil it if you guys haven't seen it, but it's probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, because I went into it cold, nobody told me anything about it, but it just shows you how the system can fail so bad. So I won't spoil it. Maybe we'll have another episode where we all talk about it and watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Because it was one of those moments, like, I was like, what, like, and it was like this.
Yeah.
It was like, what, how could you have failed these kids so much?
Yeah.
Like, that kind of thing. So, we'll talk about that later, but,
oh, man.
yeah. So they die?
Yeah, they're in this house, so what they think happened was Josh bludgeoned them with a hatchet to presumably kill them before they exploded.
So they didn't have to burn?
I don't know.
I mean, at least he thought about that.
Yeah, and then he
because a hatchet is better.
And then he lights up his house, which he has doused in like hundreds of pounds of kerosene.
He's in there too.
Yeah, so it's a murder-suicide where it's a grown man killing himself and two children. His children.
As my mom will always say in these circumstances, kill yourself first.
Wrong order.
Just kill yourself first.
Yeah. Kill yourself first
and then stop, because you can't do anything anymore.
Yep.
Always do that. I mean, don't kill yourself. I'm not saying that. But if you're a fucker that's gonna kill your kids, like, fuck off. Like, sorry. But that's not even the end of all of this horribleness.
Here's the deal. This is just me having an aside.
Yeah.
Why did he need to kill the kids?
Because they were gonna tell.
But why didn't he just kill himself and not the kids?
Agreed.
I also thought, because like in the podcast they talk about like family members and stuff talk about how he like could not live if he didn't have his kids, and I feel like it might have been a guilt thing too, where he's like, I've like so totally failed you and as your father, and I can't go on failing everyone so badly.
Can I do a bad theory too? And this is probably a bad theory that I should probably not say out loud, but I'm gonna say it out loud anyway.
What?
Do you think he actually believed, like, even though he left the Mormon church,
they
do
would
you
be
think
together
they would be together
with the mom?
They
would all be a
planet?
family again.
Maybe.
I mean,
because I feel like they're like
they get a planet.
That's true.
He gets a planet.
Yes.
Oh, he does.
That's part of the Mormon faith.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I don't not believe you.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
no.
I don't know.
He, as the head of the family.
He's really destroying that toy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He, as long as he's not biting a wire to hurt himself,
No.
he gets a planet as the head of the male head of the family, And I don't know if you did kind of believe that. I don't know.
Nice.
I hope you would not do that in any way. But.
It's hard because like
Lars, take it out. Go. Thank you.
Oh, good.
like you. I don't want to believe that he was like, oh well, I have to silence my children because they saw me murder my wife, because that's just like way too
that's
malicious.
what I don't understand is that the kids. I mean, if he were dead and the kids were, it didn't matter what the kids said.
Yeah,
he was
'cause
dead.
he's dead.
Nothing's gonna happen to you. You're dead.
That's why I think it was like, if I can't be the one to raise my sons, fuck you, no one can raise my sons.
He also might just be a family annihilator, which we haven't really talked
That's right.
about family annihilators on the show yet, but I'm sure we will.
I've never done that or heard about that.
Oh yeah, these are usually males that something huge it's usually males. I'm sorry.
Not
sorry,
always.
Guys.
Not all men.
Usually doesn't mean always.
I don't know if we actually
But
have a family
usually.
annihilator that. Oh, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay. But usually it's men, and it's usually something catastrophic, like they lost their job or they feel like failures as a man, and they just wipe out their whole entire family.
It's just insane to me.
And it's usually just
Talk
at
about
one
selfish.
time.
Yeah,
so
in one
selfish.
big.
like
yeah.
egotistical.
And there's
Go.
a few kinds of
Masochistic.
there's a few kinds of annihilators. There's ones that annihilate their whole family to start over again. And then there's kinds that just wipe out their whole entire family, including themselves, because of the failure, and they can't
go on with
can't
that.
go on with, or they think about their family members. How are they going to go on with my all this shit? This
is why you
no matter
just
way
don't
you
have
slice
kids.
it, it's no, that's not true. You should have kids if you
If you'd like to.
if you would like to, and they're delightful.
And if you
should
have them
raise
currently,
nice.
they're beautiful. They're
Please
beautiful,
don't kill
good
them.
children. They should live.
There's great families out there, and you should continue to have great families.
But if you don't want them, then put them up for adoption the right way.
Correct. Do not do any of the things that we say in this
No.
pod. Oh, not we say. We say great things.
Yeah.
We say great things.
I love that we're giving parenting advice.
Right.
It's very fitting.
We often do, actually. That's true. But yeah, so he kills him and the boys, and that's not the end of the sad deaths. We have one more death. Michael, the brother, who we think is involved in a way, like he probably sold his car because he carried some kind of
evidence.
Yeah. Not sure it was the body, but did help in some way with his alibi or disposal. And
And he couldn't live with it.
And he couldn't live with it, so he climbed to the 7th floor of his building and jumped off.
Yup.
And it's kind of horrible because he doesn't seem like a horrible, like, obviously it's horrible to cover up crimes.
Yes. No questions.
No,
like
no
if it's your
questions.
sibling.
But it's hard when it's family.
I don't know though, if my brother hurt like his girlfriend who's been around forever. I want to say wife, but they haven't legally done that yet.
No pressure.
They probably won't.
I'm sending him this clip.
They get it enough for my mother. She's like, just one grandkid, just one.
Just give me one.
At least give me a grand dog. And I did, and she's fine for now.
For now.
What was I saying? Oh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't like if my brother did something to her. I don't think. I mean, I know for sure I would be able to cover it up, but to know that I would have to go against him, like.
Yeah.
That's just like.
Yeah.
But also, you kind of to kill yourself. Something else is going on.
I mean, he did something.
He did
He
something.
was definitely part of it.
He was involved, and he was the only one left alive. So it would have all gone on him. Yeah, yeah.
That's sad to me. I know that I'm not excusing his behavior in any way, but I do get like how much we would actually do for the people we love. I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying I would do it. Who knows what you would do in certain circumstances.
He could have been afraid of him when he was alive. I mean,
That's
Josh
true.
is very psychopathic and not like in a, I was going to say not in a violent way, but he had no history of violence before.
Yeah.
Right, no.
So, but he was quite
massive and
scary.
manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows what he had said or like, to his brother.
Yeah.
And he had no support from his dad, who was just as more crazy.
At this point, I think was in prison, in jail at least. And then he died not too long ago.
Like last year or something.
Yeah,
he died.
Yeah, like 2017, I think.
Yeah.
He was getting out of prison, and then
Didn't he have a pen pal?
He
Yes.
did.
Like a woman?
Yeah.
That he was singing about at the end.
Yeah, which like don't,
someone else.
Please
Was
don't
that
write
him?
to people like that.
That was him, right? He did that?
Yeah, that was
I
him.
think so.
That was him. Well, because then there was, like, the end of the podcast also has that whole theory about how Josh had, like, this stripper girlfriend on the side, and, like, maybe she was involved or some shit like that.
I just don't.
That was like,
just weird.
reaching
It was
for
a,
left
it was
field.
like, that whole episode I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But
I
I'm
didn't
glad,
listen to any of
glad.
the bonus stuff because I had read ahead of time that it was all bogus.
Oh, yeah. Well, good for you.
I didn't listen to it. I didn't know about the stripper girl.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was, I didn't need it.
It's like another 2 hours. You guys have 20 hours.
And I also listened to his final thoughts on the matter.
Oh,
and
yeah, where
and
he...
then
I think I listened to that.
Yeah, where he's just like, I know that this is going against everything journalists are ever supposed to do, but this is what I think happened.
That's right.
And, like,
then
exactly
he
how it
also
happened.
talks about this other woman and about emotional, physical, and financial abuse, and if you see it, and what you should,
how
say
to
something and
help.
and all that.
If you see something, say something.
See something, say something. And then if you're in it, seek help and all that, which is all valid stuff. But yeah, the father dies in prison because at first he was about to get out. I think he was in there for, stalking and...
Well, he was in there...
And pedophilia.
No, because that's...
there were 2 trials.
Oh, right.
Because he was an idiot and thought that he couldn't get charged. He thought that they were going to try and double jeopardy him, but he didn't understand what double jeopardy was.
Yeah,
so he was like,
I'm
I'm fine!
They first charged him with, basically, I feel like stalking or something like that.
Yes.
And they dropped the charge of pedophilia. And then when he was about to get out...
They were like, ooh, actually...
Actually, no. And he was like, but double jeopardy. And they were like, actually, we didn't try you for that.
So it's not double jeopardy, yeah.
It works. Bye-bye, go back in prison. And they were waiting for a confession for him. And then
Forever.
He died of heart.
Wasn't
some sort of heart problem.
The host, the journalist, going to interview him or something?
Yeah, I think he was calling him, but he was like sick, and they were like, "Oh, he's not well," and blah blah blah.
Let us know.
And then he,
Leave it.
and then he died before.
Before he could do it, right?
Before he could do it. Yeah.
So
Such an emotional roller coaster, this thing.
But it's good. It's
such a good podcast.
I say listen, beware, because if you start it, you're gonna have to finish it.
Yeah. And it's intense, but it's also long.
It's
there are times that maybe I'm glad that we know all the information we know, but I'm not sure I needed to know all of it.
Yes. Yeah, well, there's a whole lot of interviews with Josh's first girlfriend in high school
Katherine.
that I'm like, why did I learn so much about her in this relationship? I didn't.
Too much.
Yeah, and how her and her now husband went to get his stuff. Her
Yeah.
stuff from him. And
Can we talk about how posturing her boyfriend was? Like, I'm so tall and he's so short. And I was like, okay.
And he's like, they're now married. And she was, and then there was like a letter or something. Oh man,
It was so much. It was so.
Not that I'm saying these people are
You
good
didn't
people.
need to know
I
his
just didn't
dating
need
history.
No, I didn't need to know his dating
It's like you
history.
were saying, we didn't need to know his middle school.
I don't need to know.
Susan college.
I also didn't need to know, how tall the new boyfriend is. I just didn't know.
Yeah, the new boyfriend.
Like how she upgraded. She obviously upgraded. She didn't get murdered. She did good. She did great.
But it was mentioned that he also took her money, put her in debt.
Yes,
twice.
That's
that could have been like this. Like in previous years, he had dated people and took their money and intimidated
Here's
them.
her talking about it.
Yeah, it could have been one
minute.
Like 5
4
minutes
minutes.
total.
Also, they led with it. They started with it and then she went to the door and blah blah blah. I was like, this is
so
not where you
Yeah,
get
and she was like, and wasn't that when he was like, you can have a ticket to the science center? And she was like, no, I'll never go. Like, there are some things that you don't need.
I was like, I don't need this.
I don't know why I
It's
remember
fine.
that, but she was like, No, you can have it. I'll never go.
I was like expecting like something super serious to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
I thought she
shit.
was involved somehow.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna come back.
It's just
Spoiler.
like, no.
But she
just
just
random,
she got a
random
aquarium
woman.
tickets or whatever it was, and got money
Seattle
taken from her.
Science
Okay,
Center.
Seattle Science.
Annual
I'm so
pass.
sorry. I'm so sorry that happened, and that you got your money taken away. But like that's sometimes dating.
And also, congratulations.
True.
You didn't die.
Yeah, you didn't get murdered.
Congratulations, you won the jackpot. You got a husband that doesn't kill you. So that's the Cold podcast, and that's
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
highly recommended. And Susan Powell's story, which is tragic, and I don't know that we'll ever fully close the book on that. I will say that the parents of Susan made sure not to bury the boys next to their father.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that there was a space for Susan. So that's
Yeah, and
sad
they
morbid and that's
pushed
the thing.
for legislation called Charlie and Braden's Law
Mm-hmm.
that basically says that if you in a situation where like a alleged murderer has child visitation, to just side with the children and like not and just like
What?
not give the alleged murderer all of his rights. Like that's
What?
literally the law.
That's I don't.
And it like feels
Who
silly
would've
that it
thought?
has to be a law, but
Right.
here we are in
That's almost
2019.
Giving protection to battered women. That's so weird.
I
like
know.
the logic
So
doesn't
crazy.
make sense. I'm gonna say knife down for this murder.
Yes.
You mean how it was done?
Yeah,
or-
just all of it.
We just give all murders a knife down.
All murders
Oh,
are
good.
knife down.
Good.
All
So
murders are
there-
knife
no
down.
to murder.
No
Say
to
no to
murder.
murder.
Knife
but
down
the
to
suicide of him, knife up.
Knife-
Knife down, the kids were involved.
knife down,
Knife down, yeah.
for the
He's
murder.
dead, knife
But
up.
like knife up because he's no longer
Is with
No.
us. Knife down to pedophilia.
Yes.
Knife down to
Stalking.
financial manipulation and abuse. Knife down. Knife up to a good produced podcast.
Yes.
And bold, sometimes a little drony, but knife up to you. And
Knife up for details.
Knife
Yeah.
up
For your-
for going
this
to there.
guy-
serious reporting.
He did research.
Yeah. What else can we give a knife up to? Knife down to the many songs, but also knife up for sharing.
But
them.
also knife up for those songs.
For having that
For
audio.
those same songs.
But I also want to knife down to the fact that sometimes I start hearing, I waited all day thinking of you.
Some of them, because like some of them sound
Yeah,
like they
oh, we
could be
didn't
real
mention-
songs.
We didn't mention that he went on a
Fuck
ride
off.
with her.
Yeah.
He was driving her somewhere
creepy.
and was like, I know you're in love with me. Like,
And she was like, "No, I'm not. Thank you. Please
She-
don't ever mention this again."
don't worry, she journals about it.
She journals about it. Oh,
But
this
she
poor girl.
very much is like, "No, thank you. I'm married to your son. Please
Yeah.
don't assault me."
I don't love you that way. He's like, she would get
So
undressed
creepy.
with the door cracked for me to see.
She's like,
She
she's
brushed
like, I didn't know it was
past me.
open.
She brushed past me.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm never brushing past
yeah,
anybody
no, he
again.
sounds like a 16-year-old girl
I
whose
brushed past
crush, like,
I'm in love.
it's like a 16-year-old girl whose crush shares the locker next to hers.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like, oh my god, he like dropped a book and I like picked it up today.
Also, like,
like,
this is why I
Jesus.
have commitment issues, you guys. This is why I feel smothered as soon as somebody texts me more than 3 times. I'm like, he's a stalker! I'm getting a
Don't you
life.
have a life?
Get a life!
Also, I just wanted to note that there is still no dinosaur.
Knife down to no
No, yeah,
dinosaur.
I think we need like boiling hot water.
Okay, maybe we did it wrong, so maybe not knife down, maybe knife
Well,
on the
like,
table.
We're knife up to Quaker oatmeal.
Yeah.
Knife definitely up to this oatmeal because it's delicious.
really good oatmeal.
Except for
A plus
you
on
like
that.
the eggs, I don't like the
I don't like the
eggs.
But I do want to see him hatch.
And knife up to our first ever
Yeah!
guest!
I didn't know you never had a guest before. You
Yeah.
made it. I mean, I thought.
You're
I didn't realize.
But we want to have guests, and you're our first. And it's amazing. And thank you for turning us on to this podcast. And we'll definitely have to have you back on when we talk about Dear Zachary, and we all cry in front of the freaking television. I'm just kidding. We'll be in here crying.
Lovely.
The lighting's
Okay,
better.
So is it something that I shouldn't be
The
watching
light.
alone?
Yeah, maybe we'll watch it together.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, we'll watch it together
it's a
and then we'll
nice
do
group
an
cry.
immediate podcast after.
And
About
we just-
how to
can we
prepare
do
a
a mystery-
cereal.
Could we be like Mystery Science Theater 3000 and podcast during it?
Yes, we should totally do that commentary. And then we'll have to do a Canadian cereal. So if you know a good Canadian cereal, or you know, like,
I bet it's
want to
maple
send
cider.
us a Canadian cereal because you love us that much, because please love us that much. Send us stuff. We'll get a P.O. box so you don't know where I live. We'll actually give you Katie's address. Just joking.
I'm moving tomorrow.
Just joking. But yeah, let us know what Canadian cereals are good, because I am not, I almost said Canadian. Oh, I was saying it right. Yeah, I'm not Canadian.
You're not Canadian. That's how you say it.
I don't
Thanks
know
for
how to
having
brain.
me. Thanks for indulging
Yes.
in my pod.
Oh gosh,
I mean,
we love
if
it.
you guys need more, and you don't have to have me. You can have different guests, but
We need more.
I listen to so many all day long.
Fabulous.
I know I'm sane mostly, but I just love listening to them.
Me too. It's
Okay,
just
good.
why we started the podcast. You can find us at Pod Serial Killer on all social media. Please email us, subscribe, rate, give us suggestions. If you're Canadian, please tell us the cereals. Or if you're from another country and you have cereals, we want to know, because we don't know what you guys eat out there. Like, maybe you have better cereals, and we would love to try them. Because in the future, we might try a really bad cereal. A future episode that we may have taken before this one, but after becomes after. Time is what?
Time has no
It's
meaning.
gross. So
Cereal is
anything
bad.
better. And where can they find you for social media?
I am at K VanderLinden on Instagram. That's really all I have.
She doesn't tweet.
All right.
All right.
I
Yeah.
have Twitter, but I haven't been on it in like 3 years.
So don't.
I think
tweet
I
it.
was kind of funny though when I did have it.
You should
But
bring
isn't
it back.
that what everyone thinks?
Bring it back. I love Twitter.
Oh my
Twitter's
God.
amazing. Twitter's amazing. And you?
I'm at Maria Immortal on Twitter.
And she
Yeah.
used to have an Instagram, but she deleted it.
Yeah, correct.
That's really healthy.
Is it?
Yes, it is for me.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I'm at Anastasia W on Twitter and at Anastasia Wash on Instagram, because I do all the social media.
Good.
Okay. Thanks for listening, you guys. Bye.